Now, that's done. Second is the actual offer itself. Now, there is conditional versus unconditional offer. What the heck does that mean? Let's take the buying side, for example. Now, you guys are all Mr. Buyers. Let's say you're going to offer that $1.4 million house, or you know what? Let's jack up the numbers. Let's go to $2.4 million. So you're going to make an offer of $2.4 million and you're going to make a deposit of $250,000. Then that's called consideration. It actually has to go with your offer, because if you're not going to offer a consideration, especially at least a minimum 5%, or I would like to go 10%, what the hell are you really doing? Now, conditional offer means that depending on the market, and the market being that it is a buyer's market right now in the Greater Toronto area, it's an excellent time for buyers to buy. That even though there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, you need to understand that it is an excellent time for buyers. You get to get away with lower prices. You get to get away with offering home inspection and home financing conditions, and sometimes even your own appraiser, just in case for your own due diligence, if you're willing to pay for that. And that's okay as well. What ends up happening is, let's say you're going to make that 2.4 with a $250,000 deposit, because that's the numbers that we play with in the Greater Toronto area, boys and girls. You got a home inspection and financing condition, and let's say you find something that the house has a major defect and the home inspection condition is not satisfied, or the home financing condition is not satisfied, because your bank says, hey, listen, even though we got you qualified, we as that lender are not willing to advance you this much funding yet. And that could happen. So, you say to the seller, hey, look, something happened. I can't honor this offer, and I just need my money back, $250,000. And that $250K sits in the seller's brokerage's trust account, or sometimes sits in the seller's lawyer's trust account. That can also happen as well, just so you know. So you got to be very careful when you make an offer that you don't make a bad faith offer. Now, back up. What ends up happening is you get your deposit back, all well and clear, move on to the next property, move on to the next lender who's going to help you finance it, whatever the case may be, depending on whichever condition unsatisfied you. Sometimes people get cold feet. That's okay. Now, you make an offer subject to home inspection, financing. Here's the $250,000 gone. What ends up happening is that, let's say you're like, okay, you know what? My wife is really happy with this property. Everyone's really happy. The family came in, visited, whatever. Sometimes people have prayer rituals. Done. And then you waive conditions. Waiving conditions mean the contract now goes unconditional. And when the contract goes unconditional, that's it. On the MLS, it says house is sold. And when the house is sold, that $250,000 that was sitting in the seller's brokerage's trust account or the seller's lawyer's trust account is now the seller's money pending closing, meaning now you got to come up with the rest of the money when you're ready to close on the property. That's when your financier is going to advance the rest of the funds and to the seller. And then after that, you're going to get title ownership transferred to your name. Done. That's it. You come back, something else happened to the property, lawyers are getting involved then. Then it's litigation. And then after that, it goes above the head of real estate agents at that point. But you need to understand one thing, that it is not 100% guarantee that you made a conditional offer. You just weren't satisfied with the property for whatever reason, even though you may have a legitimate reason, and then bang, you get your deposit back, because the seller and you have to sign something called a mutual release for that money to be returned to you, even though by agreement, by the structure of everything, you should be getting the money back. And then a lawyer will tell you, yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're getting your cash back. The only time where you could end up not getting your cash back is if the seller suddenly makes a case that says you made a bad faith offer. You know what? Being 14 years in the industry, you can perceive certain problems with sellers. And at that point, these subtleties is what I'm going to guide you on. And I'm going to say, look, don't offer $250,000. I know the property is $2.4 million. Don't do it. Don't risk such a large amount at the end of the day, because it's money out of your account. Flip it on the selling side. It's a little bit of a different ball game when it comes to accepting the type of offer, because look, you have all the power in the world as a home seller to accept whichever offer you want while you're getting offers. But let's say you get 5 offers. Not all of them are authentic or genuine. There's a lot of them out there that are just straight up scams. They'll tie you up, and then you would have lost all this time. Market would basically think that there's something wrong with the home, and then suddenly your house is selling a little bit lower than it possibly could have, even in a market where the house prices and real estate prices are trending upwards. So you got to be very careful how you navigate this entire, how to handle offers, what kind of things to basically anticipate. What are the little sneaky ways that people can go ahead and either cost you time, money, stress? Like, I had this client a couple of years ago. The family was making an offer, something was coming up, backing out. And 100% of the time, we were able to get their deposit back, no problem, which is how it should happen. What was the risk that I was treading on? I was always checking. I'm like, yo, we made 4 offers, and all 4 of those offers over the course of 5 5 months, we got the deposit back every single time. Of course, I knew exactly what I was doing and how I was handling the sellers, making sure that we were providing legitimate reason. That the selling side basically wanted to claim bad faith and wanted to keep the deposit of my buyers. He would already know the reason that we've provided in advance and how we communicated with them in writing, in emails, in text messages. That would ensure that my buyers would be in the right to get their deposit back either way. And also the sellers end up being liable for loss in time and opportunity in the event the deposit was tied up. And this stuff needs to be communicated with courage, with strength, with firmness, with assertiveness, because this is what I mean when I say we're representing your best interests. If I allowed your situation, your money, your offer to end up in litigation, I'm not doing my job right. My job is to make sure that you don't end up in litigation, that you don't have to talk to a lawyer about getting your money back, about coming out of this deal because you felt rushed into it, you were not sure, you made mistakes, you learned later. That's what the real estate agent is there for. So that is your conditional offer, how to make offers, what to watch out for in offers, etc. And that is a little bit in regards to the negotiations. Now, when it comes to negotiations in general, I think I covered quite a bit of it.